Let's All Love Lain. Let's All Love Lain. The OG 90s lolly hacker girl is back, and she has gotten into the databases of MyAnimeList. What an absolutely amazing day this is. Mark your calendars, May 10th, the return of Serial Experiments Lain. It's always interesting when fiction becomes reality. Yes, it seems like Lain has once again appeared into the world through MyAnimeList to become what is probably easily the most interesting bit of news that we've gotten out of the anime sphere that doesn't involve an announcement of a show or an adaptation. Yes, many folks who, unfortunately, still use MyAnimeList as their go-to anime database website may have noticed that on the 10th of May, the site was down. Well, it was up for a while, and it was acting weird, and then it went down for maintenance. And me personally, when I noticed this, I didn't think anything of it. Well, MyAnimeList released a statement amidst all this stuff. Notice of emergency maintenance on May 10th of 2023. We would like to update our community about a cyber attack that occurred this morning on May 10th, 2023. What happened? A malicious individual overwrote anime database information to modify all titles to Let's All Love Lain. And note this for later, user scores were also tampered with. Additionally, a JavaScript alert was inserted to display a pop-up to users who visited their profile or list during the attack. Our website, apps, and APIs were put into emergency maintenance as soon as the attack was discovered. Is my information safe? User information is handled and stored in a manner which meets government regulations. Which government? At this time, our investigation has not revealed any data breach of our users' personal information. By the way, side note, change your passwords. Can the website be restored? Yes, we can restore the affected anime database titles and user list scores to before the attack. I would hope they're doing backups. When will the emergency maintenance end? This is still unclear. To protect our community, we cannot restore the website until we are fully confident that all hacking methods used by the attacker have been identified and resolved. Our team is working diligently to bring MyAnimeList back online as soon as possible. We appreciate your understanding during this difficult time and apologize for the continued inconvenience. First of all, I joke, but yes, if you're using Mal, go to another site. Not to say that AniList is like the beacon of security or anything like that, but the cool thing here, I think, is more about what happened before the attack that they're not talking about. Yes, they mentioned the idea that all the titles are changed to Let's All Love Lain. Now, for those that have good taste in classic anime, those that have been around for a while, you probably know exactly what they're talking about here. Serial Experiments Lain. Only to be confirmed by some of the images that people released that were taken before it went down, which show, yes, the ratings that were changed was Serial Experiments Lain. They turned everything from under 8 to 8 to 10. And that pretty much put it as #1 anime of all time, which is absolutely amazing. For those that don't know what Serial Experiments Lain is, it's very unfortunate, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those series where it's difficult to suggest to people to watch, because Serial Experiments Lain, although it was released in the late 90s, it was pretty much like a lightning in a bottle show. It was a show that at its time was groundbreaking. Its writing was so mind-bending and so believable, and a lot of what is kind of represented there is sort of things that are culturally kind of norm now. Like, it got into things that eventually came true. It got into things that really did talk about society and the effects of the internet and everything like that, that are norms now. The official synopsis is, we're all connected. There is a world around us, a world of people, tactile sensations, and culture. There is the wired world, inside the computers, of images, personalities, virtual experiences, and a culture all of its own. The day after a classmate ends her own life, Lain, a 14-year-old girl, discovers how closely the two worlds are linked when she receives an email from the dead girl. I just abandoned my body. I still live here. Has the line between the real world and the wire world begun to blur? It was a show about a girl going into the internet when internet itself wasn't what it is now. I mean, we didn't have cell phones back then. And it's this big psychological mind-bending thing about reality and who you really are that really did capture an audience to an amazing degree back when it released. Again, this is sort of one of those shows that is a legend of its time, but unfortunately doesn't really, for a lot of people, stand the test of time, because a younger person now watching it, it's like, what is she even in the middle of? Like, what is this big What is all this noise happening around this girl? Why does this computer look like this? It was a cultural phenomenon at its time, and I still think it's one of the greatest anime of all time. But I think the funny thing that came up when this whole thing happened was my mind immediately went to, yes, whoever hacked this site likes Serial Experiments Lain, and so they put all the titles as this. And there was a side of me that was like, I wonder if this is a massive, like, publicity stunt. Like, Mal is owned by a Japanese company. What if they're trying to create some sort of publicity stunt to advertise the next Serial Experiments Lain? But I stopped myself immediately when I remembered, no, you really can't remake that show. And to make it modern is probably not going to have anything to the depth of degree that the original had. Again, you can't have the idea of somebody that sort of gets trapped into the world of online when the concept of online is public. Everybody uses it. Lain was sort of an oddity amongst her classmates and people around her, diving into the deepest parts of the internet that nobody even messed with. And it's something you can't really recreate in a modern time story, unless you modernize the story, in which case it's sort of difficult to really pull off. So I really do think it just really comes down to, it was a hacker that likes Serial Experiments Lain, they hacked the website, and they changed it. Now, me personally, I've always had a feeling that most hacking is not really hacking. It's social engineering of some sort. Somebody got information from somebody, how to log into their database, and they changed a bunch of stuff. But who knows? It could be an actual hacker, and they broke something, and they found a vulnerability, and they changed the code. It would make sense of why it's taken so long for them to bring it back up, whereas most companies would have it up within an hour. Restore the backup, patch the vulnerability. Unless somebody socially engineered, and they don't want to say they did. And so they're looking for a breach that doesn't exist. But anyways, I thought it was a really interesting thing. The more and more I looked into it, the more I had a massive chuckle. Just the idea of somebody changing the code to say that. A hacker that knows such an old and very cool reference of Serial Experiments Lain, giving her some love back there. Like I said, there is sort of a side of me that's like, man, it's like the ghost of Lain is literally in the internet and it's changed the database. It's super cool. But hopefully all the negative impacts that come with hacking or social engineering, or at least database breaching, isn't something that we'll have. We won't have people's personal information leaked or anything like that, which if you're putting your personal information into MyAnimeList, what are you doing? And like I said before, if you're using your password on Mal anywhere else, change them, please. But anyhow, with all that said, let's all love Lain. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that like button down below. Comment, do you know what Serial Experiments Lain is? Did you enjoy this series? Are you thinking this might be a publicity stunt? I doubt it. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you got my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, and a membership button down below. I greatly appreciate it. Support the channel, and y'all take care.